What's up, everybody? Happy Sunday. Going for something a little bit easier today because that soup took a lot out of me. So tonight I'm going to give you my spin on a chimichurri marinade. It's kind of like Argentinian pesto sauce. It's normally done with some kind of beef, like it's really good with some kind of like flank steak, something like that. I don't have any steak, so I'm going to try it with a pork chop tonight. But if you've got it, the ideal piece of meat is some kind of steak. So there's not a whole lot you need. Right now I got about half a cup of chopped parsley. I'm going to add about two chopped garlic cloves and about a half a cup of chopped cilantro. The cilantro is optional. I feel like cilantro is one of those love it or hate it with people. People normally don't have a gray area with it, but if you like it, don't be afraid to use it. Next, you got a little bit of oregano. Again, there's no exact measurements with this. You don't want to skimp on salt and pepper. And the other thing, if you've got it, the ideal vinegar with this is red wine vinegar. If you don't have it, you could use like white wine vinegar. It'll be fine. If you don't even want to use the vinegar, because again, vinegar is pretty strong flavor, you just use like a couple squeezes of lemon juice or just squeeze some lemon. Another thing that's optional is the red pepper flake. I'm putting it in there because I like the spice. So I'm going to add some lemon squeezes. And the other thing you need is a bunch of olive oil. So you could put this in like a blender or a food processor, but you also could just do it with a whisk, which is what I'm going to do. Just a dash of this red wine vinegar. And again, I kind of put the olive oil in and just kind of eyeball it until it's kind of, I don't know, liquefied. So ideally what you want to do is marinate your piece of meat for at least, I say at a minimum 3 hours. If you can do it longer, you can do it overnight. That would work too. And the other thing is I'm going to put mine in like a Ziploc bag, because another thing I'm going to do is save some of this chimichurri for the end, because I'm going to do later on is put my pork chop on the skillet, kind of like I did the time before, at a medium-high heat, about 5 minutes aside, and kind of save some of this in reserve if you want to garnish it on top when it's done. So again, I'm talking about the eyeball. I add the olive oil gradually because I don't want to, flood all the marinade before it happens, but you can always add more as you go. So just kind of do it gradually, and you should be good. So again, this is something a little bit different. Like I said, beef is the ideal piece of meat, but you could do it with pork, and that's what I'm trying. So kind of how it looks. It's a little bit different. Like I said, it's kind of a spin on pesto. So I got my pork chop. I'm going to put it from one bag to this fresh bag, and then I'm going to add the marinade and throw this in the fridge for as long as I can. So the bag kind of works. You can kind of shake it up when it's done and make sure it gets all over that piece. And just kind of leave it alone for a while. And, let those flavors marry. And then when you're ready, just you can put it in the oven. You could, grill it like I'm going to do. It's in the bag. It'll be good. Just kind of shake it up and leave it in the fridge for a while. So it's just about 1 o'clock as I'm cutting away, and I'm going to probably try to eat at around, I don't know, 6 o'clock, and I'll be back to finish this off. See you, everybody. Welcome back. That pork chop's been marinating for a couple hours, so I'm about to throw that on the skillet. It's at a medium-high heat. Because the chimichurri has so much oil in the marinade, you don't need to coat your skillet with anything. There's enough oil in there. It's just ready to go. Like I said, a medium-high heat, 5 minutes aside. I've got some white quinoa going with this. Quinoa is pretty easy to make, however much you're making. So you're doing a half cup of quinoa, just double the amount of water you put in. So I'm doing a half cup, so that's 1 cup of water. You just dump it in the pan, bring it to a boil. Once it boils, you bring it down to a simmer. You cover it, 15 minutes, and it's done. That's it. So I also got some green beans going, and I'm going to be back to show you how it all is finishing up. See ya. All right, so everything's done. I'm plating up. Kind of got my plate split right now between green beans and quinoa. So what I'm going to do, white quinoa, I feel like kind of needs something with it. So I'm going to put my chop right on top of there. And what I'm also going to do is I got that reserve marinade like I was talking about to save, excuse me, a lot of smoke in there. Save some and put it on top. And that'll help give it some color, and also, you know, it shouldn't go to waste. And I got a little bit more chopped cilantro I'm going to throw on there. And again, cilantro is a big flavor. It's a strong flavor, but again, I think that quinoa needs a little bit more. So that's my chimichurri with a pork chop. But again, if you got it, like flank steak, something like that, is what it's best for. So I'll let you know how this turns out. Have a good night. Have a good week. See ya.